from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Well, questions are being asked about the timing of the announcement of Labor's stunning about-face on an AFL Stadium in Hobart. While the government has embraced Dean Winter's agreement it should go ahead, others are raising concerns over whether or not the Labor leader was honest with voters.
A day after Labor's change of mind.
But the big advantage for the stadium is for workers.
And there's no sign of backing down from the new leader, backing jobs for his political U-turn.
If we can get this right, if we can get the local content right, if we can put local workers who are well paid, safe and secure working on these job sites, then that's great news for the Tasmanian economy.
The change of heart winning friends in high places.
Good job, Dean. Well done, mate. And can we make sure that we see more of this bipartisanship as we move Tasmania forward?
But not everyone thinks it's a clear goal. In the wake of the weekend's Legislative Council elections, the announcement has some questioning the timing of Dean Winter's embrace of a new stadium.
Labor should absolutely clarify on the record when this decision was made. When did caucus meet? When was the decision formally made? This is a matter of political integrity and the health of our democracy. On the streets, the Mac Point proposal remains a major talking point.
I'm all for it. I think it's a great idea.
Well, it might be costly, and but usually when these things are around for a while, the ultimate is a plus.
I think in the long run, it'll be built and everyone will be really happy with it.
And I think soccer is the way to go.
While Labor has given the stadium the green light, the proposal will still need to stack up in front of the Project of State Significance panel. They're expected to deliver their verdict next year, but it'll still have to pass both houses of Parliament.
Obviously, we'd expect the Premier to come to the Parliament with a piece of planning that demonstrates that it's actually constructible, it's actually feasible on that site.
He may now be on board, but there's still a long way to go. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Meanwhile, the Electoral Commission has named the winners of the weekend's Legislative Council elections, with former Greens leader Cassie O'Connor elected in Hobart. Sorell Mayor Kerry Vincent has taken Prosser, while Independent Beck Thomas has held off Labor to win in Elwick. The results will be officially declared on Thursday. Mona's Ladies Lounge could look vastly different as its curator announces she will challenge TasCat's ruling to open the space to all visitors. Keisha Cachelet says she must reform the artwork by adding Bibles, toilets and lessons for men on how to fold laundry in the lounge to meet the ruling.
The exclusion of men is part of the art. It is the artwork. And so discrimination is critical to the effective functioning of the Ladies Lounge as an artwork.
TasCat sided with a New South Wales man who claimed he was discriminated against when he tried to enter the lounge. The heartbroken mother of a transgender woman who died after being placed in a men's prison is calling for the state to properly implement its transgender policies. Taking to Hobart's Magistrate Court, Marjorie Harwood says an inquest into her daughter's death would help her find closure.
For Marjorie Harwood, losing her transgender daughter Marjorie in 2018 was a difficult tragedy. Memories staying with her to this day.
It doesn't go away. They say it heals in time, but it doesn't. I mean, no mother can describe of what they're going through after the death of a child.
Today, Rosemary is renewing calls for an inquest into Marjorie's death after refusing medical treatment. She says Marjorie was placed in Risdon Prison with men, despite being recorded as transgender by the Tasmanian Prison Service, also claiming she was verbally and physically abused while inside.
She'd show me the marks, bruises, grazes, chunks of skin out of her. Yeah, no, it wasn't good for Mum to see.
The chair of Tasmania's Prisoner Legal Service has since claimed there was in fact a transgender prisoner policy in place since 2009, meaning inmates would be managed by the gender with which they identified. But it wasn't followed.
Negligent on the part of the prison. You either have these policies or you don't, and you make sure, because they're dealing with very vulnerable people, that they're fully implemented.
The Department of Justice says it's aware a request has been submitted to the coroner, which is now being considered, adding Miss Harwood's death is being investigated. But for the transgender community, it's too little, too late.
They're incredibly good at writing policies, but they seldom implement them. And that's what's happened in this case.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
And if this story caused you distress, you can contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Police are investigating a deliberately lit fire which destroyed a home in Claremont last night. Emergency services were called to the Cadbury Road address just before 9 o'clock to find the home fully engulfed in flames. Fire investigators have determined the blaze was ignited by a Molotov cocktail which had been thrown at the residence. A man inside was able to escape without injury. Anyone with information is urged to contact police. More protections are set to be put in place for Tasmanian franchise businesses. The federal government agreeing to adopt all recommendations of an independent review into the franchising codes of conduct, recognising there can be imbalances in power between operators and their master companies.
Have a reasonable opportunity for a return on their investment. We want to provide them low-cost access to justice if there's any disputes.
We need a better understanding of the sector. We also need to make sure that although we've got dispute resolution in place, we know that we can make it better.
The new code will come into effect in April next year. $15,000 jobs are forecast to be created in Hobart in the next 5 years, according to new data by KPMG. The city is highlighted in the report into regions shaping growth across the country. Retail and tourism remain key industries for Hobart, which has also seen record low unemployment. But housing supply could stifle growth, with 500 less dwelling approvals compared to the 4-year average. Some of the state's most dangerous roads will be given upgrades as part of a $3.5 million federal funding boost. 14 sites have been identified by the Tasmanian Black Spot Consultative Panel.
Had a pretty good track record in Tasmania of funding nearly all of the assessments that have come through, but of course there is a limited pool of money.
All but 3 of the projects also include local council contributions. The Commonwealth is boosting its annual Black Spot funding to $150 million a year. And still on the topic of road safety, the next generation of Tasmanian motorists are at the centre of a campaign showing the dangers of driving while distracted. The initiative designed to build safety skills among young drivers before they hit the road.
Today's lesson, out of the classroom and on the road. Students put to the test on the potential dangers of jumping behind the wheel.
Getting young people to think about the risks as they step out into their first forays into driving, getting them to make sensible decisions.
Stakeholders joining forces as part of National Road Safety Week, giving budding drivers a hands-on look at life on the highway.
I think it's great, like a practical aspect. It really helps, like narrows it down into your mind.
Being in the car, for one thing, being able to get out there.
The practical experience of getting behind the wheel and actually having people try and distract you while you're driving and you're learning to concentrate.
The interactive experience designed to empower young Tasmanians to drive a change in road safety.
The time for action is now. The steps that we take today will save lives tomorrow.
The Greens also have young road users in mind, calling for a dedicated way parents can report safety concerns around schools in the hope the schoolgate chatter is heard by decision makers.
It's important to tap into that local knowledge so that we can get some really good solutions and hear what the problems are.
So obviously for all of us, whether you're a parent or not, we want our schools to be a really safe place, and that includes the journey getting to school as well.
Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
Mowbray Heights Primary is one of 15 schools which will be receiving money as part of the Tasmanian Government's Building Blitz, sharing $150 million over 6 years.
We're fairly cramped at Mowbray, so it'd be so lovely to be able to open up our rooms and incorporate some breakout spaces and some outdoor learning opportunities.
The government's also starting consultation with the Education Union as part of its election commitment to attract teachers to remote schools. A much-loved Launceston facility is set to be given a new lease on life after shutting down almost 2 years ago. The St Vincent de Paul Society is looking to officially take over the former YMCA building to provide crucial community support.
A local staple for more than 140 years, the old YMCA's new chapter is about to begin.
There are so many opportunities that this particular building represents. There are different areas that are suitable for different groups, both inside and outside.
Shut down in 2022 over cash flow issues, the site's been used on an ad hoc basis by some of the area's community groups, including Vinnie's, which has been running a shower and laundry service from the site for the past year. The program's seeing around 50 users a week.
I'd be really keen to see how we can extend this further and potentially even start to open at an earlier hour.
Launceston City Council also wanting to expand the site's offerings.
This is a hub of Kingsmeadows. We were keen to see it activated.
The council and Vinnie's signing a memorandum of understanding to turn it back into a thriving community hub.
Brought my children out here as a father many years ago to enjoy those facilities, so we're very keen to ensure that those facilities actually are still used in that way.
Vinnie's is calling for other community and sports groups to get involved.
We want to work with those organisations to understand what their vision is, what they can bring to help reignite this particular centre.
The council still needs to vote on the agreement at a later date.
This particular site can re-emerge as such a valued asset in the community.
Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
A pair of Tasmanian artists who share a Hobart studio is headlining the local contingent competing for one of the world's richest art awards. The duo, named among the 35 finalists, announced for the $100,000 Hadleys Prize.
There were amazing entries from right around the country. The judges took a long time, but they needed that time to assess every artwork.
The money's pretty phenomenal, but the prestige of the prize is pretty noteworthy and could really kick things off.
The winning work will be announced on August 2 when the exhibition opens.
Flush with spin bowlers next season, the Tigers have had to part ways with Paddy Dooley, although he will stay to play for the Hurricanes. Jared Freeman keeps his spot, but there will be stiff competition with the signing of young guns and Matt Kuhneman, although even the Australian bowler isn't guaranteed to go.
We've been really clear with Matt actually and told him that you're not our number one spinner. But obviously there's opportunity and you work hard and we see how things go. What we didn't want to have one spinner in our squad that felt comfortable and safe.
Nikhil Chowdhury is likely to keep playing for the Canes after being found not guilty of charges in Queensland, despite not telling the club he was facing court. Now their first win of the Premier League season is out of the way thanks to a feisty 1-goal victory over old rivals OHA. The sky's the limit for the Derwent men. After ironing out issues including player availability, they now feel finals are well within their grasp.
We'll see how we go. We just got to keep trying to get some momentum at training, keep everyone positive and keep playing.
The young OHA women's squad also has big aspirations, still brimming with confidence after a huge 13-0 win over Derwent, helped by 5 goals from the skipper.
Convincing. It was nice to see some of the younger girls definitely step up and play some big minutes in Premier League, so that was great to see.
They have a fight on their hands though, on a jam-packed women's ladder. Only 1 point separates second and fourth.
Good evening. Hobart and Burnie 17 degrees, the 19 in Launceston, the state's warmest today, while Devonport reached 16. All maximum temperatures above average. King Island and Smithton 18, Flinders Island, St Helens, Friendly Beaches and Bushy Park 17, Lowhead and Grove 16, Strawn 14, Lyawini the low with -5. Some low cloud today over the west and south, patchy cloud elsewhere but no significant rain to report. The trough has the cloud over central WA and apart from some coastal cloud over Queensland, New South Wales and Victoria, mostly clear across the nation. Tomorrow, a strong high moves to be just to our south, extending a ridge over most of the country. A trough is over inland northern Queensland. Southerly winds to start the day at 10 to 20 knots over most waters. A swing around to the northeast in the evening. Light winds over the lakes. Few showers, 90% chance for showers in Hobart, 16 the top, 15 for Geeveston, Bothwell a shower or two and 14 degrees. Launceston partly cloudy but fine, 19 the maximum, 18 for Devonport, a morning frost for Cressy, a top of 17 later in the day. 17 also for Burnie and Strawn, and a possible shower for King Island. Curry expecting 18 degrees. St Helens tomorrow, 17 with showers increasing, 15 for Swansea, wet weather for Orford as well, 15 the maximum. On Thursday, a few light showers through Bass Strait and along the east coast, otherwise fine. Another shower for St Helens and Swansea on Friday, but a sunny 17 in Strawn. And on Saturday, much the same as a shower continues over the east and the islands. Sunny weather up north for Perth and Adelaide, partly cloudy and 18 in Melbourne, showers in Sydney and Brisbane, and cooling down in Darwin, down to 33 tomorrow. Not so here, it's cloudy but cool, 13 in Hobart, 11 in Launceston, and right now Devonport 11 degrees. Kim, another viewer letter has turned up. This person hasn't identified themselves, and they've had a bit of a go at your makeup. Now, these letters really distress me. What do these people think they're doing? If anyone's going to have a go at your makeup, it's me.
Thank you for your support, Moo.